Transparency is the new competitive advantage.
Imagine walking into like a massive library to research a really crucial project for work.
Okay.
But instead of an organized card catalog and, quiet study tables, the whole system is actively working against you.
Right. That sounds frustrating.
It is. Someone has basically scattered a million loose pages all over the floor. And
Thanks.
every time you pick up a single page to read it, this giant pop-up advertisement drops from the ceiling and just blocks your view entirely.
Oh.
And then on top of that, a toll booth operator suddenly appears and demands $3 before you're even allowed to flip the page over.
Yeah, I mean, the cognitive load of navigating a space like that would be completely exhausting. You'd probably just turn around, walk right out the door, and look for a totally different way to find your answers.
Exactly.
Because a system like that isn't actually designed to help a person learn. It's structurally designed to extract a toll from you.
Right. And welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are decoding the modern playbook for capturing attention and really building unbreakable trust in this incredibly noisy digital world.
It's so needed right now.
It really is. And I want to speak directly to you, the listener, for a second, because whether you're prepping for a big marketing meeting or you're revamping your company's sales strategy, or honestly, you just want to understand why your own internet habits are changing so rapidly, today's mission is entirely focused on how you build a sphere of influence online.
Yeah, because the core problem we're really addressing today is that traditional media and those legacy sales models, they are fundamentally failing.
Completely.
And it's because they deeply misunderstand how modern consumers self-educate. They're still out there building those cluttered toll booth libraries you just described, just hoping people will, put up with the friction.
Okay, let's unpack this, because our stack of sources today maps out a completely different approach to delivering information. We're going to completely rethink how we do this.
We really have to.
We're looking at case studies on the meteoric rise of a daily newsletter called Morning Brew, HubSpot's foundational research on the evolution of SEO through what they call topic clusters, and this philosophy called They Ask, You Answer for radically transparent content strategy.
Yeah, and a really logical place to begin is with the delivery mechanism itself. I mean, before we can even debate the substance of what content a business should be creating, we have to examine the actual mechanical delivery of that information.
Right, the how.
Exactly, the how. We really have to look at the user experience or the UX.
And Morning Brew is just the perfect case study for this. If you aren't familiar, Morning Brew is essentially a modern financial and business newspaper.
Yeah, and they started as just a college side project, right? Back in 2015.
Yeah, just two college guys. And by 2018, they were pulling in about $3 million in revenue. Then just 2 years later, in 2020, they hit $20 million in revenue and were acquired at a $75 million valuation.
Which is just wild, especially because they bypassed the traditional venture capital route entirely.
Yeah, totally bootstrapped.
Right. And while legacy media companies were, constantly raising money, pivoting to video, and ultimately laying off massive amounts of staff, Morning Brew grew explosively with a remarkably lean operation.
And they pulled that off because they recognized this fatal flaw in legacy financial media.
Yeah.
Giants like the Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times, they basically treated the internet like a physical printing press.
Yes.
Like they took a physical print newspaper layout, tiny text, multiple columns, heavy graphics, and just crammed it onto a digital screen.
It's such a clunky experience.
It really is. And our sources highlight this fantastic quote from the automobile pioneer Henry Ford. He supposedly said, if I'd asked people what they wanted, they'd have said faster horses.
Oh, I love that.
It's so good. And it applies perfectly here. Those legacy papers built a digital horse. Morning Brew came along and built the first digital car.
They did. By completely sidestepping that chaotic website experience entirely, they went email first. They took the news directly to the consumer's inbox in a format uniquely designed for a mobile screen.
Yeah, and it reads completely differently, too. It's heavily bulleted, highly scannable, and you can finish the entire thing in, 5 minutes while you're just waiting for your coffee.
Right.
But the mechanism that completely disrupted the industry is actually how they handled their monetization, because Morning Brew is totally free to read.
Yes, and that's huge. Because traditional news sites, they relied really heavily on third-party programmatic banner ads to make money.
The worst.
Truly, a publisher basically leaves these empty boxes on their website, and an automated system fills those boxes with whatever ad the reader's cookies dictate. The publisher has literally zero creative control.
Yeah, so you could be reading this super serious, nuanced article about the global economy, right? And suddenly this neon flashing banner ad for a discount mattress pops up and just shoves the text down the screen.
Exactly. It completely shatters your concentration. And the crazy part is, those banner ads pay fractions of a penny per click.
Right.
Which means the publisher has to jam 10 of them onto a single page just to turn a profit. But Morning Brew threw that entire model out the window. They use a flat fee sponsorship model.
Which changes everything.
It really does.
Yeah.
They basically treat the ad space as native content. So when a brand wants to advertise in Morning Brew, they just submit a creative brief to the Morning Brew team.
Oh, so the advertisers don't even rate the final ad.
Nope. The Brew's own internal writers craft the ad copy themselves. They use the exact same conversational, slightly humorous tone and the exact same visual formatting as the actual news stories.
So the advertisement essentially becomes just another interesting story in the newsletter.
Precisely. And this preserves the reader's UX while solving a massive psychological hurdle for advertisers, which is banner blindness.
Banner blindness, yeah.
Over the last 20 years, human brains have literally evolved to unconsciously ignore anything on a screen that looks like a traditional ad. We just tune it out.
Right, we don't even see it anymore.
Exactly. But because Morning Brew's ads blend so seamlessly into the high-quality content, readers actually read them. And when you combine that native format with their massive 42% open rate, Morning Brew can guarantee highly engaged visibility.
Which lets them charge a premium flat fee instead of chasing those cheap little clicks.
Exactly.
So a clean, frictionless email perfectly solves the retention problem, right? The user experience is so good that people actually open it every morning. But a great product doesn't automatically solve the discovery problem.
No, it doesn't.
You still need new people to find out you exist. And Morning Brew scaled to over 4 million subscribers without burning millions of dollars on Facebook advertising.
Which is incredibly rare.
Yeah.
But they did it by utilizing their highly engaged audience as an organic growth engine. They basically gamified the referral process.
Yeah. During peak periods, up to 75% of their new subscribers were coming directly from referrals.
Wow.
And the technology behind it was entirely frictionless. From the bottom of any Morning Brew email, a reader was exactly 3 clicks away from sharing a unique tracking link with a friend.
That's so smart.
But wait, hold on. If you just give away free stuff, don't you just attract a bunch of unqualified people who just want a free iPad?
Well, what's fascinating here is how this specific selection of the rewards acts as a qualification filter. Morning Brew intentionally avoids giving away generic items like iPads or Amazon gift cards. They strictly give away branded merchandise.
Oh, so you have to actually want to walk around wearing a Morning Brew logo.
Exactly. If you don't care about the brand or business news, you have zero motivation to hustle for a Morning Brew t-shirt.
Right, that makes total sense.
It ensures the newly referred subscribers are actually within their target demographic. And furthermore, it turns their most loyal readers into literal walking billboards in office buildings and coffee shops, which sparks secondary organic discovery.
That's brilliant. And the structural design of the referral ladder itself is also doing a ton of heavy lifting here.
Oh, absolutely.
They set up these distinct escalating tiers. So 3 referrals get you a laptop sticker, 10 referrals earn a premium t-shirt, 25 get you a thick, high-quality hoodie, and it scales all the way up to like an exclusive VIP newsletter and direct access to the founders at the top tiers.
And the real genius is in that very first tier.
Yeah.
Requiring only 3 referrals for a sticker activates this well-documented psychological phenomenon called the goal gradient effect.
The goal gradient effect.
Yeah, it basically states the humans are far more motivated to complete a task the closer they feel they are to the finish line.
Okay. And getting someone to make their very first referral is usually the hardest part of any growth loop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But 3 referrals feels completely effortless. Almost anyone can think of 3 coworkers or classmates who need to read the news. So once a reader hits that 3 referral mark, their psychological state totally shifts. They see the progress tracker in their next email and realize, hey, I'm already nearly a third of the way to a premium t-shirt.
So the initial friction is broken?
Yep. And they're now psychologically invested in climbing the rest of the ladder.
Wow. So Morning Brew bypassed the chaotic web entirely by owning the inbox and, honestly, weaponizing their own readers for growth.
They really did.
But that leads to a pretty obvious gap, because what happens when your potential customer isn't just casually reading an email, but is actively typing a specific problem into Google? You still have to get found on the open web.
You do.
And according to the HubSpot research in our sources, the entire mechanical foundation of search engine optimization SEO has radically shifted.
It has. If Morning Brew provides a masterclass in UX, HubSpot's research provides a masterclass in structural architecture.
Okay.
Because for a very long time, the dominant strategy for being found on search engines was just keyword stuffing.
Oh, yeah. The dark ages of the internet.
Yeah, it really was. A company would write hundreds of these disjointed, isolated blog posts, each targeting a slightly different variation of a keyword, basically just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what stuck.
But the search algorithm simply grew out of that phase. The sources point to two massive updates in Google's history. There was the Hummingbird update in 2013 and the RankBrain update in 2015.
Right.
Hummingbird introduced semantic search. So instead of just scanning a page to count how many times you type the exact phrase best running shoes, Google started trying to figure out the actual context. Like, it tried to understand if you actually meant shoes for a marathon or just shoes for jogging around the block.
And then RankBrain layered machine learning on top of that,
Ah, okay.
which allowed the algorithm to interpret the underlying intent behind a user's search query. Search engines stopped rewarding those exact keyword matches and started rewarding deep topical authority.
So having a blog with hundreds of disconnected posts competing against each other for random keywords actually became harmful to a website's search ranking.
Exactly. It worked against you. The modern solution that search engines actively reward is what HubSpot calls topic clusters.
Right. And I like to think of this structure like a solar system. So at the center, you have the pillar page. This is the sun. It's a broad, definitive, incredibly comprehensive guide on a core topic.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Right. So let's say your business sells marketing software. Your pillar page might be this massive 5,000-word guide covering everything about inbound marketing at a super high level.
And then orbiting that central sun are the planets. These are your cluster content pages. They're deep, specific dives into the subtopics mentioned on the pillar page.
Okay, so breaking it down.
Right. One cluster might be specifically about social media lead generation, while another focuses entirely on, say, email marketing metrics.
Got it. But the crucial architectural mechanism that makes this whole thing work isn't just the content itself. It's the gravity holding the solar system together, and that gravity is hyperlinks.
Yes. The linking is everything.
Every single cluster page must hyperlink back to the central pillar page. And crucially, they need to use the exact same anchor text.
Which we should probably define for a second.
Yeah, let's define anchor text. It's basically the visible, clickable words in a hyperlink. So instead of linking the phrase, "click here to learn more," you embed the link into the specific phrase, "inbound marketing strategies."
Because the search engine crawler bots use those specific linked words to understand exactly what the destination page is about.
Oh, that makes sense.
And furthermore, when you interlink all these pages, you are directing link equity.
Link equity.
Yeah. So if one specific cluster page goes viral and gets a ton of traffic, the hyperlink structure funnels all that authority directly back to the central pillar page. It lists the search ranking of the entire solar system at once.
That is so efficient. And HubSpot actually ran heavy experiments on this back in 2016. The data definitively proved that a higher volume of structured internal links directly resulted in higher search impressions across the board. You are literally hardwiring the relationships between your content for the bots to read.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, topic clusters force a fundamental shift in how businesses organize information. You're intentionally claiming a defined sphere of influence on the internet.
Right.
It forces a clean, logical user experience that totally mirrors the simplicity Morning Brew brought to the inbox. You're proving to the search engine, and more importantly to the human reader, that you are the definitive authority on this specific ecosystem of knowledge.
Okay, so HubSpot solves the structural problem of how crawler bots find and categorize your website. But when a human being actually clicks that link and lands on your page, what exactly are they supposed to read that converts them from a skeptical searcher into a trusting buyer?
Well, that brings us to our final source. The They Ask You Answer methodology, which is widely known as TAY.
TAY.
Yes. And this is an operational philosophy built entirely around radical transparency.
The methodology was created by Marcus Sheridan, and the story is crazy. He literally saved his swimming pool company, River Pools, from bankruptcy during the 2008 recession.
That amazing story.
Yeah. He did it by obsessively answering every single unvarnished question his buyers were asking right there on his website. But what our sources really highlight is how effectively this translates to complex B2B companies today.
Because the core premise of Taya is incredibly difficult for most executives to stomach.
Oh, I bet.
It says a business must answer the questions their customers actually care about,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just blasting the marketing messages the business wants to talk about.
Right. Stop pitching, start answering.
Exactly. And Gartner research predicts that by 2025, 80% of B2B sales interactions will occur entirely in digital channels.
Wow. 80%. And buyers are only spending, what, 17% of their total purchasing journey actually meeting with potential suppliers?
Exactly.
They're doing all of their research, reading reviews, and totally narrowing down their options before they ever agree to get on a Zoom call with a sales rep.
So your content has to do the heavy lifting of building trust before you even know the prospect exists.
Yeah.
TIDOI identifies what they call the Big Five topics that historically drive the vast majority of buyer research. These are cost and pricing, problems and issues, comparisons, reviews, and best-in-class lists.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. You are suggesting a business should write detailed articles exploring their own flaws, or that they should openly discuss their direct competitors by name on their own website.
Yep.
I mean, most legal and PR departments would consider that absolute corporate suicide.
They absolutely would. But this raises a really important question. If a company refuses to discuss their flaws or refuses to compare their software to a competitor's software,
Right.
do they genuinely believe the buyer just won't find out?
Right, like they're just going to give up.
Exactly. Buyers have search engines. If you refuse to answer the hard questions, the buyer will simply click away and find a third party who will.
And more often than not, the entity answering that question is your direct competitor, who now gets to frame the entire narrative.
Exactly. By choosing to own the conversation, you build radical trust. You position your brand as the unbiased teacher.
Okay, let's examine the B2B examples detailed in the sources, because this makes it really concrete.
Sure.
So, Aquiel Commercial, which is a real estate firm, they built a comprehensive learning center specifically for tenants, and they answered all the notoriously opaque questions about commercial leases.
Which nobody does in real estate.
Never. And then Aslan, a sales training organization, they wrote a highly detailed article explicitly breaking down the complex cost variables of virtual sales training.
Yeah, they aren't hiding the ball on pricing until the end of a long sales pitch. They are proactively explaining the underlying value and the specific mechanics that drive the cost up or down.
Which is so refreshing.
It is, because in B2B environments, purchasing decisions are highly structured. Senior decision makers rarely perform the initial vendor research themselves.
Right, they delegate it.
Exactly. They send junior, procurement-level buyers to evaluate the landscape. And those junior buyers desperately need unbiased, comprehensive content to take back to their bosses to justify the final purchase.
Ah, I see.
If your website provides the most honest, thorough comparison, even if you explicitly acknowledge that your service is more expensive or isn't the right fit for every single use case, you empower that procurement buyer to champion your brand internally.
Wow. You're basically equipping the buyer with the exact tools they need to sell your product to their own boss.
Precisely.
And the sources detail a very specific operational tactic to leverage this called assignment selling.
Yes.
This is the practice of sending educational content to a prospect before a scheduled sales call.
Because it fundamentally shrinks the sales cycle. The Dequai framework includes creating what they call the Selling 7 videos.
Okay.
And one of these is the 80% video. It systematically answers the questions that make up 80% of your typical sales conversations.
So if a prospect books a call to discuss pricing, instead of spending the first 30 minutes of a discovery call drawing like a whiteboard diagram of your pricing model, the sales rep just assigns them a comprehensive cost video to watch beforehand.
Exactly. And by the time both parties get on the phone, the prospect is already fully educated on the basics.
That saves so much time.
It does. The meeting can completely bypass the repetitive introductory education and focus entirely on the prospect's specific, nuanced situation, which ultimately helps close the deal faster.
So what does this all mean? We've decoded a massive amount of strategy today, but if we pull the through line together, the blueprint for capturing attention and building trust in a noisy world is actually pretty clear.
It really is.
Whether you are revamping your company's go-to-market engine or you just want a better understanding of the digital architecture you interact with every single day, you need 3 foundational pillars.
Right.
First, you need the frictionless, user-obsessed delivery mechanism of Morning Brew. Respect the user's time and preserve their experience above all else.
Absolutely essential.
Second, you need the organized structural authority of HubSpot's topic clusters. Build a logical solar system of information that both bots and humans can easily navigate. And finally, you need the fearless honesty of the they ask you answer methodology. Stop hiding your pricing, stop pretending your competitors don't exist, and just start treating your audience like intelligent adults who are seeking the truth.
I think all of this points toward a profound final thought for us to consider, honestly.
Okay, let's hear it.
We are rapidly moving into a technological era where artificial intelligence can instantly fetch, synthesize, and deliver any factual piece of information online in seconds.
Right, it's already happening.
So, if raw information itself is no longer a scarce commodity, does the true competitive advantage shift entirely away from merely having the answers?
Oh, wow.
The ultimate differentiator for any business, or really any professional, might move entirely toward the human personality, the vulnerability, and the radical honesty with which you actually deliver those answers.
That is a fascinating reality to leave you with.
Yeah.
Because if an AI bot can instantly generate 1 million pages of a chaotic library, well, the only thing that will actually capture human attention is being the trusted friend sitting across the table with the exact answer they need.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take these frameworks, embrace the transparency, and go build your own sphere of influence. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening. We create new episodes every week and post on Thursdays. Consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell so that you're alerted when the next podcast goes live. See you next week.